Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Today is June the 2nd, 2022. My main channel is still being banned, so I'm streaming on my backup channel today. Please do subscribe to both of my channels. My programs will appear on only one of the channels in the future, as I heard that YouTube doesn't allow duplicated channels. After I released the explosive top secret recording of the CCP's war mobilization meeting, YouTube used a 3-year-old harmless video to give me a strike and banned my main channel for 2 weeks. I don't want to give them any more excuses to suppress me. Anyway, today I will talk about a very important topic. Will the CCP's attack on Taiwan start with the Senkaku Islands? If yes, what is the rationale behind it? Before we move on, a Shen-Yun video first.
You are not just watching a performance. You are witnessing a culture reborn. Now, you'll see what the modern world has never seen. China, before communism. Shen-Yun 2022. Live on stage. Get tickets now at shenyun.com.
Right now, Shen-Yun's 7 equally large companies are touring multiple cities in America, Europe, and Taiwan. It is your last chance to watch Shen-Yun this year if you haven't. The world tour will end in July. Check the show schedule near you and buy tickets from shenyun.show/Jennifer-Zeng to get a discount. Now, let's move to our topic today. Since I translated and released both the audio and the transcript of the top secret recording of the war mobilization meeting of China's People's Liberation Army (PLA) and Guangdong province, more related events, circumstantial evidence, and allegations keep popping up. Among them, the most intriguing is the claim that the CCP's unification with Taiwan will begin with the Senkaku Islands in the East China Sea. We all know that there is a territory dispute here between Japan and China, as well as between Japan and Taiwan. So the rough plot goes like this. First, the CCP will create friction with Japan around the Senkaku Islands to force Japan to fight back. Then, under the name of fighting Japanese Neo-Militarism, just like Russia claims that it is fighting Neo-Nazism in Ukraine, the CCP will cooperate with the Kuomintang in Taiwan and unite Asian countries that have old scores to settle with Japan from World War II. This will be called the third cooperation between the Chinese Communist Party and Kuomintang and the United Front of Kuomintang and Communist Party against Japanese militarism. The United Front is a special term of the CCP. It means temporarily working with other organizations to achieve the CCP's goals. The first cooperation between the CCP and Kuomintang happened in the 1920s when the CCP and Kuomintang teamed up to defeat warlords. The second one happened from 1937 to 1946 when the CCP and Kuomintang cooperated to fight against the Emperor of Japan. 3 years after the second cooperation between the CCP and Kuomintang, the CCP drove Kuomintang out of China. After that, CCP's first generation leader Mao Zedong credited credited the United Front as one of his 3 magical weapons against the Kuomintang. So, by framing its attack as a united front against Japanese neo-militarism, the CCP will put Tsai Ing-wen, the current president of Taiwan, in a very awkward and difficult situation. If President Tsai refuses to fight against Japan, then the CCP will paint her as a traitor. If she fights against Japan, she has to work with the CCP. If the CCP is successful in portraying Tsai Ing-wen as a traitor, then the Kuomintang in Taiwan can work with the CCP's forces inside Taiwan to overthrow Tsai Ing-wen's government. So, So we all know that Kuomintang's former chairman Hong Hsiu-chu is widely known as has been compromised by the CCP. So conversely, if Tsai Ing-wen is forced to work with the CCP, then the unification of Taiwan with the mainland is virtually a fait accompli. Although at this stage, there is no way to verify whether the above is the CCP's plot, the following facts and points tell us that we should not dismiss it as a mere hypothesis. Number 1, the CCP has spent decades inciting anti-China sentimentality in China. Sometimes nationalism is the only effective weapon for the CCP when it needs to deal with any crisis, and anti-Japanism is the tried and true method by which the CCP stirs up anger and nationalist emotions. For example, in 2012, mass anti-Japan protests broke out in more than 100 cities in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan because of the Senkaku Islands dispute between China and Japan. And in Xi'an City, in mainland China, over 100,000 participated in a mass protest. Protesters in other cities burned Japanese-related items, smashed Japanese-made cars, and stormed Japanese enterprises, restaurants, and shops in China. And in Kunming City in Yunnan Province in China, one protester held up a sign which read, "Kill all the Japanese invaders, flood Tokyo with blood." In a tightly controlled country like the People's Republic of China, it is hard to imagine that such large-scale protests would have happened without incitement and support from the CCP, right? Since the CCP's Tiananmen massacre in 1989, have you ever seen any such large-scale protests break out at the same time in so many cities? And the anti-Japan propaganda continues. In July last year, a Chinese military channel created a 5-minute video vowing to nuke Japan, and another 9-minute video threatening to eliminate Japan. The first video received over 2 million views, 11,000 comments, and 8,000 likes in just one day. I have translated those 2 videos into English and also did a program about that show to discuss the videos. As a matter of fact, the anti-Japan indoctrination starts from kindergarten. See this picture? In 2022, a kindergarten in Shanghai requested kids to cosplay an anti-Japan movie to kill the Japanese as their homework. See this image from that video? The kid kills his mother, who plays the role of a Japanese soldier in the video. And most recently, on May 26 this year, in a cultural performance hosted by the Education Bureau in Bozhou City in Anhui Province in China, an anti-Japan drama was included in the program. The performance put on by children was held at Hanling Elementary School to happily welcome the 20th National Congress of the CCP. And the slogan on the backdrop says, "Walking the first step of my life well, I'm here to make China strong and contribute to the rejuvenation of China." So after decades of hate Japan indoctrination, it is very easy to imagine that the banner of fighting against Japanese neo-militarism will be so much more appealing to people both in China and Taiwan. After all, Japan did invade China, and the CCP has been reminding the Chinese people every year how many had died during the Japanese invasion. So the second point is the CCP has been working on the infiltration of Taiwan for many, many years. Many media outlets in Taiwan have become red media already, and that is an open secret. According to Wang Liqiang, also called William Wang, he's a former CCP spy who defected to Australia in 2019. So according to him, the CCP meddled in the Taiwan election to get Han Kuo-yu elected. So he's the candidate of Kuomintang party. So that was in the Taiwan's presidential election in 2020. And because of the CCP's successful public opinion campaigns in Taiwan, especially campaigns on Taiwan's social media, Han Kuo-yu became very, very popular. See, one of his rallies attracted so many people. So many people thought he would win the election. If it had not been the CCP's crackdown on Hong Kong in 2019 that awakened the Taiwan public, Han Kuo-yu might very well have won the 2020 election. If that had happened, then given that Han's campaign was funded by the CCP and that his election was the result of the CCP's operations in Taiwan, the CCP's dream of unifying Taiwan might have already been realized. So in a sense, the Hong Kong people's massive but tragic fight and sacrifice in 2019 may have saved Taiwan, although it had not saved Hong Kong itself. So this photo of a young Hong Kong woman holding a sign in a subway station in Taiwan once drew wide attention and made many people cry. The sign she holds says, "I'm here, I'm from Hong Kong. Please cherish your votes. We can only show you once." So Taiwan had a narrow escape in 2020 because of the Hong Kong people's fight and sacrifice. But will Taiwan be able to fend off another round of more rampant onslaughts against Taiwan under the righteous banner of all Chinese should be united to fight against Japanese neo-militarism? That remains a big question mark, right? According to Lu De, who released the original video of the top secret war mobilization meeting, if the subversion from within Taiwan doesn't work out, then the CCP still has the choice to invade Taiwan with force. However, the strategic, decisive victory mentioned many times in the top secret war mobilization meeting in Guangdong doesn't mean the conquest of Taiwan only. The CCP, with Russia as its secret military ally, aims to change the current world order. This means driving the United States back to the eastern half of the Pacific Ocean, or at least to the east of Solomon Islands, so that the CCP can continue to have access to materials and technologies that are essential to its supply chain. Another interesting discovery is that an official letter from the Southern War Zone of the PLA shows that a school in Zhanjiang City in Guangdong Province was required to establish an internet self-media and publish a public opinion detachment. This means to establish an online influencer media channels and gather teams to publish information online to sway public opinion. So the red letter titled document was issued to Nanhai School in Zhanjiang City by the Political Work Department of the Southern War Zone of the PLA of China on May 12, 2022. So the letter says, according to the Central Military Mission's requirement about expanding the Taiwan-related staffing quotas, it is decided that an internet self-media and public opinion detachment staffed by 45 people be established. Please actively cooperate with this cooperation. The leaked audio file from the May 14th meeting shows that public opinion propaganda is also part of the overall mobilization plan. It was mentioned in the May 14th meeting that the South China Sea Area Command Post is formed by elite forces of command. It will be sent to the Zhanjiang area in due course and focus on the pre-war preparation in the South China Sea area, as well as organizational planning and command and control. In the top secret meeting, Wang Shouxin, political commissar of Guangdong military region, also stressed the importance of public opinion. He said, look at the recent several regional wars, especially the Russian-Ukrainian conflict war situation. If you look at the big picture, the United States and the West will try everything to slander us, smear us, and in an attempt to confuse right and wrong, to shake our will to win a just and decisive battle. We must give full play to public opinion, legal struggle, psychological war, and militia teams to strengthen the guidance of public opinion and psychological protection and cohesion of patriotic support for the positive energy of the military front. On May 24th, a Chinese language article was published in the military section of Sohu, one of China's largest web portals. The title of the article is, Once in a State of War, What Should the General Public Do? The article begins, quote, after decades of hard work, China's National Defense Force has become stronger and stronger, and China has been free of war for quite a long time. But the international situation is changing. The world situation may not always be good. There are still some countries in the world that are looking at us with great hostility. Confrontations and conflict may break out. Unquote. So this paragraph is very much like preparing the Chinese people's minds for the upcoming war or a conflict in the Senkaku Islands, right? After another coincidence worth noting is that starting from March 1st of this year, recruitment posters was put up in the subway of Guangzhou subway system. So those are those posters. And the youths were interviewed in a propaganda video to express how excited they are after seeing those posters, how they long to join the army and fight for their motherland. A soldier also appeared in the propaganda video saying how wonderful it is to serve in the army. Images in this video showing that large-scale recruitment activities were held in a university in Shantou City in Guangdong province. And mobilizing and retrofitting civilian ships into combat vessels is also part of the war mobilization tasks given to Guangdong province. As to how to retrofit the ships, there are already good examples. Let's watch a video first.
由陆军某重装合成旅联合地方组织开展的一场主战装备成建制跨海投送演练，从某程度上讲，就代表着一种提升我军跨海投送能力的全新途径。此次成建制的装备投送演练之所以能够如此引人注目，主要是因为承担运输任务的并非是我们印象中的2栖作战舰艇，而是这艘名为长达龙号的汽车滚装民船。据相关资料显示，该船总长140.5米，型宽24.4米，满载排水量达到了2万吨级。早在长达龙号设计之初，其实就考虑了军民两用的要求。这艘2万吨级的汽车混装船进行了专门的优化设计，具备了承载重型主战装备的能力。该船不仅内有8层载车甲板和直升机起降平台，同时还预留了指挥舱室和军用通信设备接口，各种配套极为完善。也正是得益于这个具有极强装载能力的平台，长达龙号据说可以做到一次性跨海投送2个满编的机械化步兵营。单纯就重型装备的装卸能力而言，这艘汽车混装船完全可以与同为2万吨级的071型综合登陆舰相媲美。自正式交付使用以来，长达龙号曾多次参加过由军队组织的实兵实装投送演练，期间取得了极为优异的表现。当然，除了运力强劲以及具有更高的舒适度之外，长达龙号这种军民两用的运作模式具有着极为重大战略意义。
So that is an excerpt from a longer video released by a Chinese channel in 2020. Another video mentions that the Changdalong can load Hongqi 17 field air defense systems. It loaded 5 cannons, 5 amphibious vehicles, and a lot of individual equipment during an exercise in 2017. This Chinese media article in 2020 used the following title to describe the retrofitting of the Changlongda. Quote, "This thing is amazing. Civilian ship changes into amphibious giant ship in seconds. Its strategic significance is extremely huge." And this Chinese language article in 2018 is entitled, quote, "China's 20,000-ton giant ship has a hidden mystery. In wartime, it can deliver 2 machine infantry battalions across the sea." So in March this year, Japan Forward published this article assessing the Taiwan threat. What if China strikes the Senkakus first? The article says one of Japan's grand strategy scholars also thinks that a Chinese attack on the Senkaku Islands is more likely than a direct attack on Taiwan. The argument this scholar used is based on the weakness displayed by the administration of US President Joe Biden at the major NATO countries. This analysis might have some merit from the US or Japan side, but there is a different rationale to consider as well. From the CCP's point of view, as Taiwan has also claimed sovereignty over the Senkaku Islands, Beijing has a very good reason to believe that fighting against Japanese neo-militarism is the best choice to unify Taiwan, isn't it? Well, that's all for today. Please don't forget to subscribe to both my main and backup channels as a way to deal with YouTube's suppression of free speech. Also, if you could, please consider subscribing to my membership or making a donation to support my truth-telling efforts at my website at jenniferzengblog.com. Thank you so much. See you next time.